This is Talib Jasir, founder and CEO of Afros and Audio, and I want to personally invite you, yes, you, to the 4th Annual Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, October 22nd and 23rd at the Warwick Rittenhouse Square Hotel in Philadelphia. Don't miss this 2-day conference for and by Black independent podcast creatives and audio professionals. Visit bit.ly AFAU Fest 22 to learn more.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co-host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Q Points. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, good people?
Q Points is your safe space for meaningful discussions of black music, not block music, but black music and black artistry, because Q Points is dropping the needle on black music history. Jay Ray, we're going to get through our formalities really quick because we got a juicy one. I know I always say that, folks, but we really have a hot show on our hands this evening, or whatever time you're listening to this podcast. But this show is going to be super exquisite. But first, I just want to ask, how are you?
Yo, man, I am good. It has been an interesting week. It's been a diverse week, but what's been really cool is just the opportunity to try new things. And I'm always excited for Q Points and excited for the guests that we have on the show.
Absolutely. I love how you framed your week as diverse and opportunities to learn. And that's exactly how I need to start framing my week, because I could easily say, it's been trash. But it hasn't. It has not. I'm just saying, I'm giving an example, and it's an example to others too, that you can always reframe every situation, no matter what. But tonight, you know what can't be reframed, J. Ray? So you guys know, weeks ago we did an extra Q Points goodie that we posted on YouTube, dedicated to the memory of Roy Hamilton, who a singer who is known by some as the voice or as the inspiration to one Elvis Presley. Of course, Elvis is in the news, is in the zeitgeist because of that, the movie that was released on HBO. But we did, there was a video that came out on BBC not too long ago, and we took a look at the video along with our good friend Saint Smith, and just discussed how we felt emotionally when we heard about the history behind Roy Hamilton. And of course, being who we are, and I'll speak for myself, being who I am, I was very triggered by the video. I was triggered emotionally by the lack of money that Roy Hamilton made over his very short career, as opposed to the extensive career that Elvis Presley had and continues to have, and the money that he continues to generate for his family.
Yes.
And so, with all of that said, we posted the video on YouTube, and baby, I'm just gonna say, Elvis fans, are y'all all right?
Right.
Are y'all okay? Because they have been in their feelings. Like every day, J-Ray, when I get a notification or email notification about a new comment from YouTube, And some Elvis fan is giving us the but what about, and the making all kinds of excuses and very in their feelings about, well, Elvis loved Roy and Elvis did this and blah blah blah. It's like, it seems like you can't, if somebody idolizes a public figure, especially a musician,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like you can't publicly critique or give an opinion about these public figures, these musicians, because their fan base tends to lose it if they feel like their fave is being attacked.
Yeah.
And joining us this evening, we have some very special guests. Very special guests, J. Ray.
Yo, listen. So back in January of this year, I can't believe, wow, it's been 9 months. Already. So DJ Sir Daniel and I got the opportunity to partner with Joshua Henry Jenkins and Michael Ward of Black Gay Stuck at Home during our Janet Jackson watch party. And we had the best time because Black Gay Stuck at Home, one, has just an amazing network and community of folks that come to their events, and they came over to a Q Points event, and we were so grateful to be able to have that opportunity to share space with the Black Gay Stuck at Home family. And so, listen, Michael and Joshua are here. So before we introduce them and bring them into this conversation, let me just tell you a bit about Black Gay Stuck at Home. Black Gay Stuck at Home is a project created by Michael Ward and Joshua Henry Jenkins. As the world was asked to stay at home during the COVID-19 pandemic, a need for affinity and community remained. Black Gay Stuck at Home is their effort to both gather folks together, but also center Black queer film, allowing for folks to engage with one another and build community, and also engage with familiar and perhaps new work centering Black queer experiences. Their inaugural viewing, which I was there for, and live chat featured Patrick Ian Polk's feature debut film, Punks. I need to make a pause. Patrick Ian Polk was in the building, in the chat for the experience, right? So,
wow.
Yes, they showed that film, but Patrick Ian Polk was also there too. So that was really, really cool. Sharing history as the film was showing. That's the magic of Black Gay Stuck at Home. So that event saw 500 plus registrants. So listen, y'all, we are so excited that on Q Points, finally, Joshua Henry Jenkins and Michael Ward are with us. What's up, y'all?
We made it to Q Points, y'all.
Legends only. Welcome.
How's it going? We sipping over here, okay? So
Please make yourselves at home. And you know what? I'm sip some more because we want this conversation to be loose and lively. So please, because we are in fact talking about is there room? First of all, we're going to talk about, can Black folks be culture vultures too? And so, because, not for nothing, Elvis was the original culture vulture. But as we fast forward to 2022, we're in the middle of a renaissance, wink, wink, and there are artists that are being vocal right now about how they've been making this kind of art for a while now, and they're being overlooked. One such artist, and we're going to use the tweet that he posted, is Cakes the Killer, who is a phenomenal rap artist who is also Black and queer. And in his tweet, he said, imagine doing something that wasn't considered cool for years to then have it become cool years later. And people tell you now you have to play by the rules set by people who didn't even pioneer the shit in the first place. And he goes on to say other things like, I'm sorry, I've seen a lot of people go crazy with this whole music, art, nightlife stuff, but y'all ain't getting me. And that, I think the most telling tweet is the one after that says underground cosplay. So as J. Ray and I do, I hit him up immediately. Ooh, J. Ray, what do you think? This is a show. First of all, get into the tweet. Is he lying? What? What do you all feel? What is your immediate reaction to what Cakes the Killer tweeted? Either one of you can go first.
Ooh.
It's a lot.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Yes.
You know what? I'll stay while y'all think about it. Let me. One, he's not lying. And I say that because we've seen it happen before. Like we just talked about our video with Roy Hamilton and Elvis. So we've seen it outside when other cultures kind of come into our culture and then pull out from it and then take it back and then sell that shit back to us watered down from their version of what they did. And so what I've been churning on is this idea of, do we enter a community amongst Black folks in the diaspora? Do we do that? I know that this came up a few years ago as it relates to folks from the continent were asking that question around African Americans, right? And so I know that there was a discussion there, but I do think Cakes has a valid point. When you are an artist who has been in a particular lane solidly and making great content in that lane for a long time, then you have these big power brokers swerve on into that joint and and all of a sudden you have to play by those rules. That's sticky. Like, that's sticky to me. Not unexpected, but sticky.
It's tough. I think it's really, really tough because I think looking in now, a lot of what he's speaking about is being a pioneer, of being the first that's out there. And sometimes as the pioneer and being the first out there, you do have to kind of lay that groundwork. And sometimes you just have to get your roses maybe later on in life, or you have to like fuck with the people that fuck with you. Like Cakes the Killer definitely has a following, and people really, really gravitate toward his music and go to the live shows. And he was just overseas, so he definitely has a fan base and a following. I would say
Right.
for me as well, maybe in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, with Pose coming out, with a lot of more legendary on HBO, a lot more artists are using gay lingo and incorporating even who was it, Azealia Banks that put in Paris is Burning. And then you've got Megan the Stallion, you've got Beyonce, I'm calling names, that are voguing, getting called out by Leomi and the girls. But as well, I think it's a difference between, to me, culture, being a culture vulture and actually paying homage and using LGBTQIA plus artists and maybe shining a light on them through your platform, because we can't lie. A lot of these artists have the budgets. They have the bigger looks. They have a machine that's pushing behind them to be able to get on this platform. So if they're bringing in the community and they're using that platform, I hate the word platform, but we're going to use it, but using that platform through their art, their music, to say, hey, this is T.S. Madison, and this is the work that she's been doing for years, or Big Frida, or even if we go to Kalila, who had a whole remix album of LGBTQIA plus artists, of spotlighting and highlighting them as well, because we know a lot of times they're indie, they're not going to be able to get the looks. It's from the ground up, which to me makes it a little bit sweeter to get to the end goal. But sometimes you don't always want to work that hard, and it's like, damn, why can't I just have it as easy as releasing this record, getting the fanfare of everything that's going on with Twitter? But it's sometimes just the business, and that's the part as a creator that just sucks. Sometimes you got to be out there and be the first, and somebody comes along and swoops up and does it better. Sorry, I shouldn't say does it better, but gets a better and a bigger look because they have a bigger budget than you do in that instance. So I think it's a lot of things. I think it's a lot of things at play here. And I think as well too, I don't just want to put it on who I presume to be cis Black women, but I think that a lot of it in the more recent years have been cis Black women that have taken the lingo, the culture, the choreographers, the hairstylists, the fashion, all of that, and made it a little bit more mainstream. And I'm I don't want to say that I'm accepting crumbs, but I'm thankful that we're being credited and reaching back and pulling us with them as well.
But where it gets really sticky, y'all. So yes, so there is theft, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Elvis theft, right? Like, but we have to ask what role we are playing in the commodification of our own culture, which I think is where it gets really, really like icky feeling, right? So I think about, for example, Legendary, right? And I think about how Legendary packages a subculture and underground culture for the masses, right? On the sort of platform of like we want to bring visibility. So how can we do that and then get mad that now it's finding its way into Megan Thee Stallion's She, it's finding its way into some of these other sort of like moments. And so I'm just like, I'm in a bit more of a struggle now because I want to embrace, but it's also really challenging because our people and our gatekeepers are not the ones who are bringing it to the masses. So it's really like a catch-22 for me. Like on one hand, I actually sympathize and completely hear what Cakes is saying, because when you put in years in the game, like you want to be rewarded for what you put your blood, sweat, and tears, resources, and money into at whatever sacrifice you put it in, right? But on the other hand, what doors does this now open for Cakes that didn't exist before? Because the culture is the larger culture, the larger sort of mainstream ear and eye is ready to and now accept this art form. So it's really, really like, I don't think there's a clean answer. That's the point where that's why we're talking about it, right? It's because it is something that can be spliced and diced 10 million different ways. So it's celebratory in a lot of ways, but then sometimes I feel really torn because I want to support, but I just don't know where my dollar is not going back into the pockets of the people in the community most of the time.
Right. And see, it toes that very thin line that I think what we're all struggling is that very thin line of where this is yay, but things are, are we saying the names of the people who are represented? Are the artists that have the larger names and the larger platforms, are they doing these things in allyship, in genuine allyship, or is this just another wave that they want to ride and something for them to use, another vehicle for them to use? And so I think that's the question that a lot of people have been struggling with. But then there are a lot of fans, a lot of people are just saying, hey, you should just sit there and eat your food and be grateful for this light that is being shunned. Everybody's not a T.S. Madison. I almost said T.S. Eliot. Everybody's not a T.S. Madison to get a credit on an album and get the huge shout out. So it's a very thin line here, and I hear the cries of the artists that are queer artists that are rapping, that are singing, and they're just like, nobody wants to reach to us, or we're putting out this really great content, but y'all want to go for this. And when they see what is being spotlighted and what gets the look, that's where the frustration comes in, because a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm 10 times better than that.
Right. And I think also, and I feel really strongly about the idea that I do feel like we have to name the people that we're borrowing from and the people that have inspired the work that's happening. And I think we have to call it what it is. Like in some instances in recent years, what I've seen is there might be certain individuals that get named, but when it comes to calling a thing, it's like, we stop short of saying this is Black queer people. These are Black trans people. These are Black gay people that have inspired this work, right? And I think that's really important, because I think that's where some of the barriers potentially can be broken down if people are able to say exactly where they've borrowed from, those individuals, and I mean, I think Renaissance is a unique experience. I do want to stay here for a minute because I think Beyonce did do some really good things around including the people that she included on the record, paying the people that she paid on the record, using the samples that she used, and saying what that was. I do still think there are opportunities for us to like take that a step further, though. And I think that's the important part because I start to raise eyebrows a little bit where I'm like, I just need you to say like I need you to say who these folks are, what this community is, what it meant to the culture. And so when I saw Cake say underground cosplay, I was like, yeah, I kind of see where that comes from.
Yeah, there was a moment so even pre-Renaissance, there was a moment when I knew it started feeling a little icky to me. And the song slaps, but I have to talk about Work This Pussy by
Tiana Taylor. Yeah.
So, and can we talk about the drama afterward too?
Well, so Mickey Blanco's on the track, right?
Yes.
And they're featured. They're featured on the track, right? Like when you go in, I think you can see point blank, it says featuring Mickey Blanco, right? Great. We love Mickey Blanco.
Yes.
There's a moment at the end, though, that really still bothers me. And I tweeted about this one time and nobody cared because that's how sometimes Twitter works, right? Is that Kanye, I think Kanye is the one who produced Work This. So Kanye took 2 clips from Paris is Burning and combined them into one clip as if they were one voice. So he's combining Octavia St. Laurent talking about what she wants to, being somebody. But then at the end, because it's Kanye wants to frame it in a high fashion world. And the high fashion world is actually Venus Extravaganza's voice. And so what really bothered me and still bothers me to this day is the sort of like, that's a great example of how it didn't really matter who it was to Kanye. It didn't really matter. They didn't get the feature. They didn't get the, like, maybe they might be deep down in the liner notes. I don't even think so because I think I looked for it because I was like, does anybody hear that they made these? Everybody kept saying Octavia. I'm like, no, that's Venus at the end. Like, but it's an example to me, I think, of how sometimes the culture, they just want to pick what they want to pick. And then they don't really need to name it for what it is. They don't need to give it the respect and the credit that it's due. They want to say this came from this iconic film that everybody now knows, Criterion Collection, classic film. It doesn't matter who the individuals were. It doesn't matter that they're no longer here and can't further their legacies. Let's just put those things together and let's just pop it in this song, which is already sort of giving queer sonic element anyway. And then they'll be fine. And so that to me sort of kickstarted a lot of this in terms of the borrowing without the sort of due diligence of crediting folks for their contributions, even if it's minimal, even if it's an inspiration, even if it's 10 seconds of a quote, right? So I just had to name that because that's been sitting in my spirit for like, 3 years now?
Get it off your chest.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you named it because that would have flown over a lot of people's heads. And we've talked about this, J. Ray. We've talked about this before about the erasure, especially of quote unquote second class citizens in this music industry. We saw it with my girl, 2 Tons of Fun.
Oh, Martha Wash.
Martha Wash. We've seen it constantly with Martha Wash and all the other nameless, faceless Black women throughout the history of music. And the same thing is happening to the other people who are who come third and fourth in the hierarchy of Black people in this country. And so I guess we can't talk about being culture vultures and borrowing from a subculture to market it to another culture without, like I said earlier, there were fans in the Twitter comments that were very irate that somebody even had the nerve to criticize their fave.
Right.
And it's just like, well, Okay, it's all right. People get criticized all the time. You put your art out there. Part of being an artist is being able to receive critique. I don't think your fave has never not gotten some critiques and then perfected on whatever it is they were criticized about. So we can't not talk about the stan culture that has taken over everything. And so I just want to ask you guys, like, what are your thoughts on the toxic behavior of some of the fan? Don't take a sip now, Michael. don't leave out there. Don't jump out this conversation, because it's really, guys, this past week has been like, it's been a cesspool of like craziness, especially in the rap category, especially in the Black female rap category. There's been a lot of nonsense flinging it around over on social media, on people's radio shows. A lot of craziness has been happening, but it's the fans that are taking things to another level. And what do you guys think of stan culture?
I think there's a number of things that come to my mind, especially when it comes like to what happened last week and kind of what's been happening since maybe artists have become more reachable through social media, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and there's no longer kind of like this wall up or this mystique with a lot of artists. And now they've been, oh, I'm human, I'm more in your face, and I can connect directly with my fans. And I think that there's cons and there's, you know, great points to it, right? But I think that we've lost a little bit of that kind of mystique about an artist, about like, not to say that they're over here and we're at a certain point, but it's kind of like there was and I'm sounding very old, but there was a particular way that you knew that an artist was coming back, right? You knew once the PR machine, they were in an album cycle, that they were coming. Maybe the hair changed. Maybe we got a first single, we got a first look. And now it's kind of now that's kind of changed. But I think maybe within about the last 10 years, it's kind of been just this opportunity for people to say whatever that they want to say, not necessarily speak factually. And this is just not even with music, but just speak factually about things. And it's just easy to tweet or Facebook or whatever that you want to say. And I think gone are the days are of reading album credits. Gone are the days of actually having to stand in line and like get a CD and actually opening it up and like being surprised and amazed at who's actually worked on the record or waiting for a video to drop. Um, that's just me being an old person right now. But I think with the internet and all of that, there's more instantaneous streaming in your face. It kind of just makes everything readily accessible for us to tweet our every thought, our every moment, our every mind, and not necessarily speak factually. So especially when it comes to the recent conversations about certain female rappers, I think that even as I grew up, there was a certain reverence and a certain homage that was placed of knowing your time, knowing your time and gracefully bowing out and sitting on your throne and imparting your wisdom and your knowledge to the ones that come after you. And I think even growing up, there was this Foxy and Little Kim kind of spat thing, right? There was that. But before that, there was still the homage to, Latifah and Light and Roxanne Shante and all of these women that they were able to come together. We had a ladies' night. We had, Brandy had them on her remix in the early 90s. There was what I perceived to be this sort of camaraderie amongst women in a male-dominated industry that said everybody has their own thing and we're all serving it, we're all giving it. I got this. There's room for everyone, right? And I think as I've moved along and I've gotten a little bit older now in my mid-30s, where it's like, I'm the first to do this. No, you're not. No, you're not. What we just said, erasure, you cannot erase what Kimberly Jones has done for the culture. You cannot erase what Queen Latifah has done for this culture. You can't just pop up and say that this woman has come with wigs, with lashes, with samples and interpolations, and that she is the first to do anything. No, ma'am. There's not going to be anything that's new under the sun. I think for a very long time, she was the only person that got that major look. She was the first person that got the major look. And now since then, it's just, and I must add this for me. This is Michael. This is nothing on Q points. But I think that she also got in the game on some fuck these other hoes. It's all about me. I'm myself. I didn't borrow anything from anybody. And then tried to backtrack that when it was directly related to Little Kim and tried to, go to Foxy's corner. And it's like, no, you can't do that. And she has a certain way of doing this every single fucking album cycle or when it's time to promote. So I'm going to call it what it is. She needs a hit. She doesn't have a hit, hasn't had a hit in a while. And so this is just a way for the stands to keep her name involved in the conversation. Bring it back to the music. Give us something that we actually want to listen to, that I want to buy, that genuinely excites me about your music, and sit on the throne, knowing what you have done. If you're a queen, act like a fucking queen and impart your wisdom on these girls that are coming after you. Nobody is trying to erase anything that she's done. But you cannot act like you're the first to ever do it or you're the only one that can hold this spot. And even to minimize the experiences of some of these other ladies that have had traumatic experiences involving men in the industry and taking indirect shots at them just seems crazy to me. It just seems crazy to me. So I think that it's a way for them to keep her name involved in the conversation. And I think as well, sometimes people just want to say stuff because they want to be trending or they want to be funny or they want to be viral or that they want to be liked. So I don't even know if these people are speaking factual. And when did we have access to all of this information of SoundScan, of RAIAA certifications, of Hit Daily Double? You're trying to hit me with facts and numbers when I had to stand in line and buy a record or buy an album or save my 97 cents at Walmart to buy a single, pure sales, if we want to talk about it. So I do get a little bit upset when you tell me that somebody has streamed your song 10,000 times, and I remember saving my lunch money to get a record from Sam Goody, FYE, Circuit City, or a cassette tape. When it's like it's a different ball game, but you cannot erase again what somebody did to set the groundwork for you to be able to talk about your coochie and fucking niggas and fucking own niggas and swallow my, like there was somebody that laid that groundwork for you. And it's okay to say that I'm not the first and I may not like this person that came before me, but you still got to respect them. You don't have to like them, but you will respect them. So I have since muted all of the keywords that come to mind when we think of these certain people. But I just think the internet gives people an opportunity to say things that they would never say to people's faces. And there's no consequence. There's no recourse until, like a Cardi, you have to take these people to court, or you call it what it is and try to correct whatever that your legacy is going to be that's out there. But it's like, just some of the things that I have to say, and shout out to Craig Seymour. I understand that he gets mad sometimes about like not getting his just due, but he educates the kids. He has receipts. He pulls out the articles. He gives you what it was and what it used to be. So a lot of it is we just don't know our history. We don't know our history, and we don't want to take time to know our history to research what people have done.
Well, so yes, that, right? But like, I think community is beautiful, right? So like, I think about how people create.
Not when it comes to that.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I imagine what it would have been like if I had the internet when I was like 10 and I didn't have to be the only one. Wait. But I didn't have to be the only one in North Carolina thinking that I loved, I was listening to the Spice Girls, right? Like, I had nobody to like commiserate with about like the like demise of my favorite girl group or the things that made me love being a gay kid, right? So like, it's beautiful to be able to be on the internet and be on an instant community with people who love what you love. There is now a responsibility that artists don't want to take in being able to wrangle and control the conversation or when they see it going off the rails. And
do
so,
they have to?
But I think that
Beyonce's not coming on the internet to tell these girls to be quiet.
She's not, but Beyonce never it pretended like she was going to. Like, it's really tough to watch Nicki Minaj tweet all day, knowing she's seeing the vitriol that's being spewed at people. She's seeing the threats that I think about Kimberly Nicole Foster, who was like tweeting
Yes.
about the legal
Oh,
things
yeah.
that she's trying to do to sort of, make sure that folks are being held accountable for really awful actions. And like, but to see those things happening simultaneously to seeing Nicki Minaj tweeting things that are urging and encouraging folks is really, really, really tough to watch. I never expected Beyonce to go on the internet because she never engaged with us on Twitter anyway. Beyonce's had one tweet in her whole entire career. Okay. So I never expected her to. So like, I think that there's something now about, and I think about a lot with like television, reality TV. This happens with Drag Race all the time, where Drag Race girls are having to say, hey, fan folk, y'all got to stop coming for these, like my fellow castmates, whatever, because you have to kind of set the guardrails. And then when you see something that's toxic is happening, you have to be able to call it out. That's part of the responsibility now, because the medium has changed. And so if you're using these platforms to make sure your name is there, you have to also do it with the responsibility of acting like a damn adult.
Right.
Like, no,
But you can't get mad when the people bring receipts and call out facts of what you're engaging with. But I do like the piece that there is a certain responsibility with that, but not everybody can handle that responsibility.
And I definitely want to, I think that's the part that's missing. I think in all of this, I will say we shouldn't, let me speak for I'm gonna use an I statement. I shouldn't have to feel nervous about having a conversation about a particular artist. I shouldn't feel nervous to critique someone because I feel like their audience is then going to attack me. I ain't did nothing to nobody. I have a right to have an opinion. I feel like I've been around a little while. I'm not just going to say some stuff that's coming out of my ass. I really, really am just sharing, right? And I feel like we are in this moment, and that's what scares me the most. And I feel like a lot of times Twitter has enabled it, not because Twitter did anything, but it's just the way it works, where you can just spout off the first thing that comes to your mind and you press send, and it's like, maybe you should have held that. Maybe you should have held that.
Put
it in the group chat.
Or leave it in the drafts.
Leave it in the drafts. But as a cultural critic, I guess I can put myself in that line of people. I shouldn't have to worry about, if I say this one thing about this particular people, I might get dragged. And I'm like, child, what? I promise you, I ain't did nothing serious enough to get dragged for. Just because I know how I communicate. So I really just, my fear, and it makes me truly nervous, y'all, is I felt Kimberly so deeply. I felt so bad for her because Kimberly has defended Nicki so many times. I watch Kimberly faithfully on the For Harriet channel and on the Kimberly Nicole Foster channel. I know the conversations that get had. They're smart, they're well thought out, they're researched, they have backup, they have slide decks. Girl, like, she ain't deserve that. She didn't deserve that.
At all. And to your point, J. Ray, it's what we've seen with the leader of the country.
Former leader of the country, absolutely.
Former leader of the country, the same thing has happened. So we really can't be shocked when somebody gets criticized, when a leader and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was reading up on like what makes a cult leader, what constitutes a cult, what do you need, and the main thing that you have to have is a very charismatic leader who happens to be a narcissist, and there cannot be any gray area for anything. There has to be allegiance or nothing at all. And unfortunately, when you do those things, like you said earlier, when you don't yank them, when you don't rein them in, when you don't set guidelines at the beginning of your fandom, and you give them all kinds of, the technology has made it so easy to find people now. We have doxing,
That's so
people's
sad.
it's sad and it's dangerous. People are being sought out just because you don't happen to like a song. And it affects the culture on a whole, because not only can't a Kimberly Foster do her shows, but then if you're a music journalist, you have to be careful of what you write, or whatever you write is going to be attacked. You can't be a DJ. And if you're out in public and you're not playing a record, or if you get attacked and people are looking at you from the side, and they're holding up their cell phones to the booth, I want this record
They
playing.
do that to you for real?
It's so sad.
No, but seriously, those things affect the greater culture, because it feels like you're not interested in your favorite being great. You're just interested in your favorite being right. And that's not what music, that's not what artistry is about. And I think it's a very sad commentary on humanity on a larger scale of where we are, because this is really just a microcosm of a macrocosm of what's happening out in the world.
And your ear is now closed to everything else that's happening musically in the world. So like, I just can't imagine being so hung up on what, like, I'm eating and I am literally, my computer is, what do they call it? Farming, like farm streaming, one song or whatever. I can't even understand a new artist or what new offerings might be just as amazing to me, because I'm so consumed by one artist, right? So like, it's so sad to think that there's so much music in this world now, especially given how accessible it is now to create music and put it online, that people are stopping themselves from being able to enjoy it because they're so hung up on their fave and making sure their fave, defending their fave and making sure their fave gets to number one based off of, me looping the song for 12 and a half hours.
And it's a disservice to your fave. It's a disservice to your fave, because your fave is not stretching. Your fave is not growing. They're not evolving as an artist when you do those things.
Go ahead, Michael.
No, you can go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I had not thought about this, and we want to talk about Black Gay Stuck at Home in a minute, because y'all got stuff, and we want to make sure that we talk about y'all. But this is such a juicy conversation, and we knew it would be. This is why this was important. But one thing that this just brought up, in what you just said, Joshua, I will never forget listening to or watching some sort of documentary on Michael Jackson, maybe a decade ago. And the person was describing Michael's persistence to his record label to be at number one, and making sure that he was calling the people that he needed to call, right? To make sure that his album, so when his record wasn't at number one, this was the Off the Wall era, he would be calling the executives like, hey, my record's not at number one. Because the industry was so different then, right? The people that controlled what the hits were the record labels and the radio. Whereas now we have, as fans, more power to influence where our artists land, and our artists don't have the record labels and the radio to call, because they don't do that type of thing no more. They don't got no A&R people. They are a label in name only. They are giving you money to go out and do the thing that you do. Go make records, make hits, make us some money.
Get on TikTok.
Yeah, get on TikTok, do that. So it now, in that sense, it makes sense to me now, where it's not really different than what I think our artists in the past did. It's just that the system is different. It's like the same thing, but done differently. And yeah, I just never had thought of that before. So I just wanted to put that in the space.
I mean, I agree with you on that too, because I was gonna say that there's something cool about the community, like you were saying, right, Josh? There's something cool about that community of even now, instead of fan clubs, that, oh, let's get online and everybody like do a virtual listening party, right? Or like, let's all listen to the same song at this same point. So that part of it is cool. I definitely understand the aspect of that. From streaming, I don't get. But I see now how these fans are creating these campaigns to like, let's, stream this album at this time, or everybody buy the record or do something to get this back to number one. So in that instance, it is sort of like you're saying, cool and speaking to community and transferring from the, writing a letter to your artist or, developing your meetup or your fan club part of it. But I think as well, too, the charts have changed. And like you say, with Billboard, we're now they're tracking your artist engagement or who's hot this week on socials or different things like that, or even incorporating now streams in the way that Billboard goes. So yeah, it's just, same shit, different day. And people are learning how to work the system that it's given. And it's clearly worked for some artists that are out there, as well, that can get the major looks in and do that stuff. It just, I didn't really see what was going on though with Kimberly Foster. I just kind of saw bits and pieces about getting a lawyer. So I'm a little bit kind of like, did they show up to her house or like, clue me in real quick on like, because I have all of that muted. So
they threatened. What they did was they shared her address. I don't know if it was. I think it was an old address, but just the idea of the sharing of they definitely shared her phone number, so much so that she had to change her phone number.
Oh wow!
In the last 48 hours, they were literally. She was showing texts to her phone that were crazy. Like you don't say that to people. You don't threaten people's lives. You don't threaten to blow up people's like building that they live. Right.
Over an artist.
These people don't know your name.
No.
Absolutely.
It makes me miss the days. You remember like street teams and like
right.
Yes.
Remember you had to put your little $5 in an envelope and put it to the fan club and like, it took a lot of work to go after somebody. If you really didn't like somebody, you had to go find a number in the telephone book. And so like it just is sometimes the technology and the shift in technology, it gets weaponized in these moments to make things that otherwise should be joyful celebrations of people's artistry. It just changes them into, these really awful moments where people are now comfortable. If they're doing it now, they're going to do it again. If it's not Kimberly Foster, it's going to be somebody tomorrow, right? Like Kimberly, I think, was doing that to say, I am one person with a platform that this is happening to. It's also happening to other people. It's also happening to 15 and 16-year-old kids who don't have the platform I do to be able to call and name it what it is and get a lawyer involved. That's why I think she's moving on this, is because she's like, I can't let this not be an accountability moment. And y'all see where she retraced it back to somebody who was like, oh, you got 15,000 followers and you think that I wasn't going to find you, but you're like, I found you. So like, apologize to me. She gave them an opportunity to apologize, which is generous. So, it's just it's a cesspool. I think that's what somebody said earlier. It's a cesspool.
It's a cesspool. Well, y'all, oh my gosh. I have 30,000 other things I wanted to say, but we are not going to do them because we have to talk about Black Gay Stuck at Home. Thank y'all so much for once again being here and really leaning into this conversation, because I know all of us were at different stages of child. I don't know. It's important though, and I'm glad we did this, like leaned into it. So Black Gay Stuck at Home. So it's over. What is it, over 2 years now? Is it over 2 years for Black Gay Stuck at Home?
Yeah. We're at like 2.5 almost. Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild.
Wow.
How does it feel to still be able to impact the community the way that y'all do? Because it's still popping.
It is. I mean, it's personal, right? So at this point, like I think Michael and I both get different, some overlapping, but also different things out of it, because it's not just a community we make for others, it's also our community now. And so we look forward to seeing and talking to the folks that come in every other week. And so it's kind of wild to think that even in we're not post-pandemic, according, even though folks might think we are. But even as everybody is outside, we are still able to, welcome 150 or so folks every other week into a space to like just be with each other. And that has, I think, been a source of celebration, a source of therapy, a source of like, we take a moment to breathe sometimes in there. Like it's a beautiful space and opportunity to be able to do that. It's a privilege. It's really a privilege at this point.
What say you, Michael?
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. I think that it still blows my mind. And I know I get on my emotional soapboxes on Black Gay Stuck at Home. And I really do think that it's a blessing that people still look for us, that they show up on a Friday night, even when most cities are open, for real open. But they're still looking to learn the history and the culture and the community of movie. And it really speaks to so much of like how I go into my life of telling people that you don't know how much art influences your life and how we need money for the arts and how during the pandemic everybody was turning to art, whether that was movies, whether that was TV, music, going back to old like books, different things because we couldn't really go anywhere. So art has this really powerful ability to change people's hearts and minds. And I think through what we screen and what we show, we've been able to kind of tap into that and highlight different sections of our community of the LGBTQIA plus. But it's just a blessing. And I get overwhelmed at times that like people show up, because it's always that moment when me and Josh are talking like 5-10 minutes before where we just get caught up on life and we be like, oh, it's actually people waiting for us. Like people are waiting. Okay, well, somebody has shown up. And to be able to do it, I think I said it last time, I was Tad B Cocktails, but I needed it to unwind. But I think that this is what we're almost at like 60 official screenings, not including the ones that we've done outside of it. So to be able to now have this intertwine in my life, and I've got to meet people that walk up to me and be like, are you Michael from Black Gay Stuck at Home? And it's just, it's mind blowing. So all of those things matter in that, again, we don't work in a vacuum. I think so much of like my work and what I do, it seems to exist in a vacuum because I'm in my room and I'm on this phone a lot of the time, but we're really reaching people through this medium, through technology and giving community and like listening to their stories and hugging them. And yeah, it's a blessing. It's mind blowing. Never thought that we'd be here after all this.
And checking them when they're out of line, because that's what you do when you care about your community. Okay.
Set up guardrails.
There you go.
Our
Correcting with love.
Is to rein them in. What is the job?
Yes.
I'll be back there laughing sometimes.
Correcting with love. And because you cultivated this community, I know that you want to pivot and you want to give more. So what is your vision like now? I'm sure you all started out with a vision and it surpassed that. So what's your vision moving forward for a Black Gay Stuck at Home?
That's a big question. I think in an ideal universe, I've said this to Michael before, I'll say it again. In an ideal universe, we would formalize the hell out of this thing. We would figure out how to make this some sort of formal nonprofit situation, and we would quit our jobs and do this full time, because I think that's how much we love being able to do this. And we know Black Gay Stuck at Home is a sliver of something that could be bigger than that. So like we're actively sort of trying to figure out what are the ways we can do more, but we're also like trying to protect our peace and the ability that we have. Like, we have day jobs like we all do. Like we got, so it's like we had real, I think, ambition to make the passion project turn into something that feels like it could be bigger than just like he and I. And so that's a vague way of saying that things are in the works, but we're taking it at a pace that feels like we can do it the right way, I guess. Yeah. Michael, you got other things to say about that, or did I answer that correctly?
That old school speak. No, I think that it's really for me about this fake sense of balance. I'm gonna stop using this word at some point about balance because I have no balance in my life. And people are like, how do you do all of this, Michael? I don't know, moment by moment. I sleep when I can. But I think that it is something, like Josh said, that we've been talking about as far as 2023 as we develop programming and develop kind of how we can support um, Black queer filmmakers that are making our stories and telling our stories and being able to be a place where they can premiere things and we can do screenings and we can get feedback before it goes wide, and that we are looked at as a platform like any of these major film festivals like Out on Film in Atlanta and New Fest and um, the one that's out there in LA and some of these, Sundance, all of those things. There's no reason why we can't be on that level with the amount of talent, with the amount of people that come and spend their time with us, and allow us to show their art, their film, and bear their heart to us. So my goal is definitely to take what we do and somehow, as Josh says, formalize it. Shaw 501c3, baby. Hey, it's a lot of work, but the dream is within our reach. So I'm leaving the door open to what that looks like. But I think for me, it's important about being able to somehow either contribute to funding. We don't have no money like that, y'all. So continue to donate, bgsah.com.
Well, it's that transparency that keeps people coming back. And you already dropped the website, but let the people know what other ways they can get in contact with Black Gay Stuck at Home and follow and be a part of the movement.
We are also on all the social media, Instagram and Twitter at _BGSAH. And then on Facebook, we're hanging out at Black Gay Stuck at Home. And yeah, you can find Michael and I individually. We always talking to the folks. So film suggestion, all that kind of good stuff. Send it to us. We want to be able to hear from people and what they want.
Listen, very, very cool. So we are going to thank y'all so much for being with us for our first two segments. Me and Sir Daniel always do this thing where we do our weekly catch up. We have to do our weekly catch up. So I think Black Gay Stuck at Home, y'all gonna hang out with us for our catch up? Okay. So we're gonna take a quick 1 minute and we will be back. So hang out with us because we're gonna talk about some more mess, y'all. It's a lot of stuff going on this week. We'll be back in a minute. We back.
We're back.
Oh, Sir
was quick.
Daniel. It does. It goes fast, don't it?
It really does. Listen, that first, and we could have gone on and on and on about stand culture and just the responsibility of artists. But I think it's time for a little weekly catch up because I think that really brings it on home. And we just like to check in with each other on the stuff that's been happening throughout the week. I say we cleanse the palates of everybody, and we just take a moment to reflect on the lives of two artists that we lost this week. The first artist that I'm going to be referring to is jazz, funk, R&B legend Ramsey Lewis passed away this week. It goes without saying that music is going to live on forever in samples, in remakes and covers. You know, the vinyl, everything. It's just going to live on forever. So, rest in peace to Ramsey Lewis.
Yeah. I will never forget seeing Mr. Lewis on BET when I was a kid.
Mhm.
He would show up randomly on all of the music shows. So if there was an interview, if there was something, and just a brilliant pianist and creator, and yeah, I'm so happy that he gave us all that he gave because it will continue to be sampled and heard forevermore. So definitely rest in peace to Mr. Lewis, and sending our condolences from the Q Points family to his family and friends.
Unfortunately, this next artist did not get a chance to
Yep.
experience the longevity of a Ramsey Lewis. You know, Philadelphia
Hmm.
rap artist PNB Rock was murdered in Los Angeles. And J Ray, I gotta say, like, the more I hear about the story, the more frustrating,
Hmm.
and it's more frustrating than anything because one, there's a social media aspect of
Hmm.
people. We're all about letting people know I'm at such and such right now,
Hmm.
and I'm eating a chicken wing,
Hmm.
pull up on me. And that's exactly what people can do. And there's a lot of different stories behind that whole issue. But then there's also this culture of, if you come to my city, you need to tap in. I saw a TikTok with two gentlemen from Los Angeles. They put, they were posing in front of a vehicle. They didn't claim any type of affiliation with anybody, but they were clearly from LA, and they said, "Hey, when you come to our city or when you come to different cities, you need to tap in because you don't because and you need to check in with the powers that be in this particular city." And they waved their guns. They show, hey, we got heat on us. You never know who's holding and whatnot. And that incensed me more than anything because, again, we're faced with this whole issue of Black people and people of color holding on to neighborhoods
Hmm.
and clout and holding on to those things and lording it over people and saying and trying to have some control over something to say, when you come to my town, you need to check in with me or you'll get robbed or you'll get killed. It's real. It's incensing at this point.
I'm so tired of brothers killing each other. Like I'm so tired of it. I don't even know. I'm just tired of it. I don't know how are we expected to be able to do the great things that we have been put here to do. You're absolutely right. PNB Rock will not have the opportunity to achieve all that he possibly could have because his life has been taken. He's not here anymore. And so yeah, so for me, I am sick and tired of we have this conversation about black men and violence all the time on this show. I don't I'm I don't know what to do, y'all. So um Michael and Josh, what y'all think about this whole thing? This ongoing issue.
I think that there is a bigger conversation as far as black men and violence and kind of this culture of being a rapper and kind of the lifestyle aspect of it or whatever, that you have to sort of portray the lifestyle that you're leading. I'm not checking in with anybody when I
Hmm.
get to the city. What am I checking in for? Are you giving me my Marriott hotel room key? I just,
Mm.
maybe because I'm not in those sort of spaces, or I don't necessarily need protection. Um,
Right.
and I'm not affiliated with anyone to check in for safety or security. I think that we should value lives enough to say that you're worthy and valuable for me to just leave you the hell alone. Like, what does it matter to you that I don't check in with you? with that aspect. And I think the larger conversation, and I've seen a lot of nasty things as well online about posting the location and this is how people tracked you down or that they, wanted you and all of those things. And I think that there is a bigger conversation about safety around real-time location posting, all of
Mhm.
those, but to each his own, what they choose to do. You shouldn't necessarily not be able to do something that you want to do for fear of safety. So I didn't necessarily understand that aspect of it. I think it's just overall a sad situation. And I think as well, too, a cause in the play with Nipsey Hussle,
Mhm.
outside of where you work, not necessarily doing anything and being shot, or just the violence that comes to artists or these rappers that are out there. Just we all deserve and are worthy at this point of just to be black men, whatever that looks like, whatever, and whoever that you are. So very, very, very sad.
And sadly, this is not new. Like, I
Mhm.
think I saw a tweet from, was it Ice T? I can't remember. I think it was Ice T who said, like, in my era at his peak as a rapper, he was like, we were not out here with all of our jewelry on. We
Jewelry.
were
I
not
saw
out
that.
here flashing all of our, money and stuff because it was a safety hazard, right?
Mhm.
And so even like predating technology,
Right.
we still sort of like this challenge here. So I don't know, it's really sad because it was uh, it happened so quick. It happened so quick. It was you post and the next thing you know, 2.5 hours later, someone has passed away. And that is just the most tragic thing, especially when you think about how talented folks are
Mhm.
and all that they were sort of gearing up to give to the world, in addition to what they already had given to the world. So I think that there's a desire to find blame sometimes. Like people were really putting a lot on his girlfriend at the time, which I thought was really sort
That
of
was really
foul.
sad. Like, you don't
Yeah.
want anybody to live. That was nah. I wasn't with
Right.
that at all.
Yeah, that was really sad to hear. Because I mean, if let's say it was Instagram, like they
Mhm.
were both actively posting on Instagram. Like
Right.
they were living their lives and trying to eat some food and sort of share with the world, like we all do. And so I think that there's no toolkit to here's what you need to know when you become famous on how to stay alive. Right. Like, but maybe we need one now because it feels like, the guardrails that the folks were had before in the era when the record label will tell you what to do and what not to do and how to show up and how not to show up. I feel like we lost a lot of that because everything is so self-driven and independent right now. And so I think we need some of that sometimes to be like, let's take the extra mile here so that we don't put ourselves in situations that might end up harming us.
Mm.
Absolutely. Whether it's Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles or the strip club,
Mhm.
if you are a famous person, you are being watched. We did an episode on the hip hop police. They surveil a lot of these rap artists as it is already. So that's you got the police watching you, and then of course you got the goons out there watching you too, surveilling everything that you're doing. And I mentioned the strip club because, years ago, Cardi B got into an altercation at a strip
Mhm.
club, and as of today, she pled guilty to the incident and received 15 days
Mhm.
of community service, which is a lot of people are saying, hey, she got off pretty easy. But I say this all the time: if you've got the money, oh,
Uh-huh.
you can. A lot of things can go away,
Mhm.
and not saying it's right or wrong, but hey, that is the system that we're working with right now.
Yep.
And she's a popular person on top of that.
Absolutely. It matters. All of that stuff matters. So yeah, I had not been paying attention to this story as much. I remembered hearing about it, but then I forgot about it. So then it was
Yeah.
interesting in all the week of this craziness. I was like, oh shoot, and the Cardi
Mm,
B's thing was going
yep.
down as well. Because she was also donating a bunch of money to her old high school or
High
old middle school or high school in New York. So yeah, I mean, maybe her opportunity to do community service too. Who knows the impact that she will have on in doing that as well. So, yeah, you know,
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Like, y'all remember when Naomi Campbell showed up to community service in a gown? Like,
That's
it's
what
a
we
photo.
now.
It's a
we
photo
were saying the same
op.
thing earlier. We were like, what if Cardi turns this into a Naomi moment and shows up every 15 days wearing a sickening outfit, tipping to her community service and just getting the
Y'all
photo
see how
shoot.
you know
she
her
was
nails
for
gonna be out
photos?
here, right?
The pearl. Did you see that? Mama was sitting in court. I said, what kind of photo shoot is she having?
Again, when you have
In white,
the
baby.
money, when you have the resources and the coin, oh, you can definitely make, the world your oyster, basically.
Unless you're R. Kelly, that has not worked out for
Oh,
him.
no.
And amen.
Not-
No.
Listen,
not working on
kids,
his
The
favor.
people are
Finally.
tired.
the people are tired.
The people are tired. And quite frankly, it's I feel like ageism is playing a little bit into it as well. I think that before we knew all of these things, right? We said all of these things. There were journalists, there were people who had been doing stories. We have single point of contacts. Me, subject matter expert, okay, on this. And so I think it's just at this point, not necessarily to say that the record label or the music industry has thrown him away, but it's sort of kind of, we've milked you for all that we can milk you, and we can properly promote you or defend you or keep these systems in place, this infrastructure that allowed you to do these things. We can no longer do that for you. So I felt like once that record label that was behind him kind of just pulled the strings and they started trying to pull the music off the apps and the streaming services, it just there's unfortunately no more hiding behind what you could hide before to shield away for it. So nah, Robert, I'm sorry. And that was just too much. It was too
These
much. And too
lives
many. And you just-
destroyed over decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
Got
more
nothing
than
for you,
enough
bruh.
time to show like, and I'll say this with Cardi. Mama released the bad press statement. Again, great work of your publicist. But I think that it had gone too far for R. Kelly to really absolve himself. And not to say that you can be absolved from what you've done, but it just, there was no stopping point, I felt like, with it. Something had to be done about it. So, yeah.
If there was a biopic to be made of R. Kelly, who do you think would play him?
Let me go on mute.
I honestly don't want there to be no biopic.
All right, let's not do the R. Kelly biopic, but there's a new Whitney Houston biopic on the way out.
God,
Again, no more segue.
You like that?
DJ Sir Daniel is the king of segue.
That's the segue. I appreciate that.
So
No, Miles.
the
No,
new trailers. No more. The new trailer was released today of "I Want to Dance with Somebody" and the wig. There's a
only
budget for
Whitney
the wigs. There's a budget for wigs. There's a budget for the music to be cleared.
That was
Are you all?
of
Are
all
y'all
the
not
things.
here for it?
I'm here for the music being cleared. I was listening. I was like, let me see what this music is given in this trailer. And then I heard the actual Whitney Houston and I said, well, that's a plus. I'm not interested in another Whitney Houston nothing in at least another 20 years. Like, I just feel like this woman needs time to rest. They said, and the trailer, what was hilarious to me is the story you don't know. I'm like, well, girl, what story don't we know at this point? I don't know what we don't know.
Honestly, it's out of order. I wish that the biopic had come first so we could relish in the like grandeur of like the glam and the glitz of a biopic and then let the mess come out afterwards, right? But there's no way they're going to give us nothing juicier than what them two documentaries that came out in the theater or came out the last couple of years gave us. So like, I'm just paying to go watch the Whitney Houston musical or something. Like, it's not going to give me anything I haven't seen before. However, I will say, I thought the actress, what little I've seen, she doesn't try too hard to do Whitney, but there's an essence there that I think might be kind of fun to watch. So I don't know. I'm intrigued enough to
Will
go
you
see
be watching? You be going?
Sure. I watch Worth on my own.
I'm gonna go in December. I'm definitely gonna see it. You know, it's Whitney Elizabeth Houston.
Is this the one from The Family though?
I believe so. That's why the music is cleared.
Okay. Okay. That's why we have the music. Because see, so my thoughts are I still wish that Whitney was able to tell her story her own way, or had at least like started the process of being able to tell her story from her words. Because I think that there is so many opportunities, as we saw in the documentaries, to really, really give us the full human picture. And now it just feels like a money grab. I don't want to see the hologram. Okay. Clive, I don't know how many more deluxe vinyl sets, how many unseen footages, how many performances. Yeah.
And then you have remakes of songs, and now remakes of movies, and sometimes when people of different cultures and colors are recast as your favorite character in, let's say a Disney movie. Let's talk about that. Let's say a Disney movie.
Oh, that was a perfect segue.
You know that people get into up in arms of, fictional characters like, I don't know, The Little Mermaid, and this faux rage over, sad little redheaded children not being able to see themselves on the big screen anymore. And, as the tiniest violin plays while we're talking about this, gentlemen, what do you have to say regarding the outrage that we've seen over the past week since the trailer dropped?
How dare they not cast a real purple person as Ursula? Okay. How dare they? How dare they not cast real life frustrations and sing and dance? How dare you?
You know what? My response has just been to send people that clip. Is it of the director Rob Marshall that said that Halle Bailey, Jesus.
Halle Bailey.
Halle, that's how you say it, right? Halle
Bailey.
Halle Bailey was the first person that they called into audition, and that she set the bar and nobody crossed that bar. They said they saw everybody. And this is when they were trying to be messy, because the reporter asked, well, who else did you see? And Disney kept it very politically correct, and they said, we saw everybody. But nobody could cross the bar. So she definitely earned her part. We screen tested her because she's not a seasoned actress, right? She was 18 when we cast her. But we went through multiple screen tests. We had her come in and sing.
She can do that.
And nobody could cross the bar. So we got Mama did the work, okay? And from the little bit of snippet, and thank you to whoever leaked the other footages, Mama is coming to get her things. And you know what? I'm here for it, because that was beautiful. And even the reaction videos, speaking of Whitney Houston, of that blind reaction, but even the reactions of these babies and these kids that are seeing this Black woman now at this point, because she's a woman of age, from Atlanta, Georgia, with locks, of what that means, of taking her place in the legacy and being in the Disney lexicon. Like, again, it goes back to changing people's hearts and minds. And again, I'm gonna just send y'all that clip because Mama earned it.
But woke culture is ruining everything. And all you
what does
woke
Christianity
people
have to do with a fake mermaid? And the people told y'all
all you woke people, and you know what you woke people look like. You woke people are destroying everything. You're destroying. You're dividing people. You're causing dissension amongst the races with wokeism and casting this Black girl as a Little Mermaid. it's tearing us apart. Can't you tell? It's just tearing the world apart.
Those are also the same people who don't see race, right? Like,
I don't see
Yeah.
color.
I
Not
don't
time.
see color.
Yeah. It's a lot. Johnny J. Ray, you were about to say something.
I don't like what upsets me the most is how there are segments of people that are trying to excuse this blatant racism. When you start looking at the memes, when you start looking at the statements, it's like, I just need y'all to say what it is that you're trying to say. At this point, we know what it is. Black folks are not confused. Like, at all about what this is. I need y'all to say what it is at this point. But you know what? Shout out to Halle Bailey. You know what? You know what? I have to admit, it is always really hard. I have to be very clear when I say Halle Bailey.
Yes.
It's easy to make the mistake because there's another star with a very similar name. So, but shout out to Halle for this work. Yeah, this is foolishness, y'all.
It's definitely foolishness. But shout out, we mentioned her earlier, about this woman's legacy never being able to be erased. So Little Kim was innocently hopped on a remix or two this past week. She hopped on Meg Thee Stallion's remix of Plan B, and following the theme of the song, which is about exes and grown men, Little Kim addressed an ex, a grown man, and rhymed about that. And somehow this very, I thought he would be too busy, with his numerous television shows. This grown man, 50 Cent came out of his fog or whatever and said that Little Kim was talking about, and added Nicki Minaj on the social medias that Little Kim is referring to her husband, and her child. So bizarre and so weird. It's like Little Kim is just doing what she's supposed to do, which is rhyming and showing you girls how to hop on a remix, how to hop on a mixtape. Because listen, I say it all the time. Mixtape era Kim was a problem. The streets was real nervous back in the day when Kim would hop on somebody else's beat and do freestyles to different songs that were popular. And she's just carrying on that tradition. But here we go. If you picture the messiest person that why is it always a man?
Shout out to Lil Kim for having a good week. Yeah, I mean, I think she's an artist whose legacy cannot be diminished, and I'm always happy to see when she gets the opportunity to do some stuff. Even though I be having feelings about some of the new stuff that she puts out, admittedly, but I'm always happy that when she has the opportunity to shine and do what it is that she does best. My brother actually, so when the Megan remix hit the internets, and it was, doing all types of things on the YouTubes or whatever, my brother burst in this room right here. Imagine me on camera and him bursting in. He was like, has DJ Sir Daniel sent you the Lil Kim remix yet? I like it because she's doing what Lil Kim should do. And then he left. Like, it was very, it's very that. And I hadn't heard it yet. But then when I heard it, I understood exactly what he meant. He's doing what Lil Kim should do in this song.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Legacy. I agree. I think it was a welcome surprise. And I could hear Kim on that beat when Megan released it. So it was really interesting to see what she did with it. But I don't know how we got to the point with reigniting that 2/4 beef. I don't know.
It's like, Curtis, what are you doing, Curtis?
He's so busy. He's so busy.
Like, tell me you don't write your own lyrics without telling me you don't write your own lyrics. Because it's like, you just have to be able to, like, listen. and understand what's being said, to hear that that's not about that's not about Nicki Minaj at all. Like you really got to twist it 10 different kind of ways to make it into that kind of a beat. And so but as we know, he is really prone to trolling people and igniting fires where he knows there is none. So like that's a tactic for him. So I'm not surprised, but it makes me question like reading comprehension.
All of those things, and it's like I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and think maybe he was just still celebrating from the fact that he was part of an Emmy-winning ensemble for his Super Bowl performance. Which is worth congratulating, like Dr. Dre and Mary J. Blige. We can't. We all can't say her name without doing that. You just can't. But yeah, I thought that was really dope that Mary is now an Emmy winner.
Good for MJB. Good for all of them. Yeah, I remember really digging the Mary and the Kendrick sections of that performance. So shout out to the MD. That was just all black people all day. We have a lot of things that we could say about the NFL, rightfully so. We have a lot of things that we could say about Dre, rightfully so. And we can also celebrate, right? And a lot of things that we can say about Curtis Jackson. And we can also celebrate the fact that was a dope performance too. So stuff can be two things. We can have problematic people do stuff that we also think is like dope stuff too. So definitely worth the Emmy, and really, really proud of those folks.
Indeed.
I love Mary J. Blige.
That design. Amazing.
Beautiful guy.
No.
Well, I am so glad. This has been fun because typically when we do the weekly wrap up, it's just J. Ray and I. But now we've had Josh and we've had Michael on, and they joined us for the mess. And now we can edit it and make it look like Josh and Michael are the ones that are like Nicki Minaj haters, and have all of their stands go.
I will send a cease and desist.
No, but again, we thank you so much for joining us, because this is what Q Points is all about. It's about community. Black Gay Stuck at Home is about community and having just really meaningful conversations regarding art and how it makes us feel and how it reflects the lives that we're living right now and the times that we're living through. So thank you, Joshua Henry Jenkins. Thank you, Michael Ward. Black Gay and Stuck at Home. Everybody follow them, subscribe, be a part of the family. And J. Ray, I know you about to let the kids know what they need to do as far as Q Points is concerned.
Yep. I'm about to do all the things. So in the chat is the link to Black Gay Stuck at Home's website. Make sure that you pop over there. Oh, what is the screening next week? What are y'all doing?
Oh, we are doing a really fun thing. We're doing 3 short films next week, so like a bit of a festival feel. So we're doing a 2020 pilot episode of an animated series called Mine, which is starring a Black non-binary teen as the lead saving the world. And then we're doing a second one, which is Ship by Terrace Day. And then we're doing a 1990 Black gay short film, kind of revolutionary for the time, called Billy Turner's Secret. So come hang out with us.
Very cool. So definitely hit up the website. Make sure that y'all RSVP for that. But as far as Q Points, listen, y'all, if you like the show, you can leave us a tip. Go ahead over to leave us a tip on Patreon. We have our tip jar over there. If you like, and I'm going to be so serious, for real, we are really looking to grow Q Points. We cannot do that because Q Points is not, we got to earn some money. So if you want to support us, you could become a member. We have content that's only available to members. It's like a whole other show over there. So you can become a member on our website. And you could become, and that makes you a supporter of Q Points so that we could grow the show and do all the things. We're trying to get an editor. We want to, there's a bunch of stuff that we're trying to do for the rest of the year and for 2023. So make sure that you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, and also leave us a review and a star rating. Make sure that you subscribe to us on Spotify. And if you are watching us on YouTube, go ahead and click the notification button. And if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, you can go ahead and do that. And last but very much not least, follow the good homie DJ Sir Daniel over on Mixcloud, because he be doing Sugar Honey on the Rocks over there, wearing the kids out. And you should follow and go ahead and listen to his mixes, because he be giving it to y'all. So that's all I got.
Listen, I can't make this stuff up. While we were wrapping up, I just got another notification about another comment on the Elvis video.
Oh, let's read it. Hold on, I want to go and read it. Oh my God, y'all! Yes, let's bring it in. Y'all want to know what the people said? Let's see. Hold on, we're gonna find it. Can we find it?
More Elvis.
Yes, here it is. New comment. It says, "You all are forgetting Elvis grew up in the same culture. The truth is every artist borrows from each other. What made Elvis so great is an artist and entertainer is his deep, heartfelt delivery of his songs, and mystique and promotion by Colonel Tom Parker. Fomenting racial divide and anger is ignorant."
See,
we just got
y'all woke people. Because you woke people, you very woke people. But listen, you know what I always say? In this life, you can do whatever you want, but you can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play, because I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray. And who are y'all?
I'm Joshua Jenkins.
And that's like Michael Ward. He's stuck at home. And this has been Q Points, dropping the needle on Black music history. We'll see you next go round. Peace.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.